Mexico has a diverse and rich culture. One of the many states that demonstrate this is Morelos. Morelos has a popular tradition called Chinelos that is hosted annually at the carnavales there. Chinelos came to be after the Spanish came along in Mexico. If it weren't for the Spaniards coming along, Chinelos today would be non-existent. Today we will dive in and talk about its origin and how it came to be, its costume attire, and its ritual dance and its significance. According to Los Chinelos Mexico XP article, it all started back in 1870 in a town called Tlayacapan, where a Nahual group of native people felt excluded by the Spaniards' festivities, and they rebelled in a sense that they wore old clothes and covered their faces with old rags, and they would yell and whistle and jump around the streets and create some sort of chaos. According to a professor, with the help of his students in the UAEM University, found along some historic documents that elaborate more on the Spaniards' festivities that would be hosted a few days before Ash Wednesday, and they would come out with their finest jewelry and their best clothing, and they would dance along with the religious festivities. And this obviously upset the Nahual group because they were not allowed to join. So they created this disturbance, and since it was a success the first year, they did it annually. And as each year went by, they did modification and changes with what they did. One being the date, changing it from a few days before Ash Wednesday to making it late January or early February. Another thing that they did change is, according to Los Chinelos on the Mexico article, is that their name was originally called Huehuetzins, which is also a Nahual word, which meant a person who wears old clothes. It is still used in today's times, but not as popular anymore. But in the same article, it wasn't 100% certain how Chinelos came to be newer. They may think it comes from another Nahual name called Cinelos. It's another word that means a person who moves their hips and feet well. That's as close as historians have gotten to derive the word, but they aren't 100% certain on that. This popular tradition is celebrated among many cities in the state. It is also celebrated in Mexico City and even some cities in Puebla. But the sake of this speech, I will be talking about similarities and stuff about Tlayacapan due to its being its origin city, and Tepoztlan, since it is the most popular city where these carnavales are hosted. Leading on to their costume attire, it is broken up into three components, one being the hat, the actual robe itself, and the mask. So we'll start off with the mask. All of this information is based off the article of Descubre la historia detrás del sombrero chinelo. The hat is a black velvet cone head that has these flowers and Aztec gods embroidered on them, along with some beads, sequins, fringes, and pearls glued onto it. So when they move around, all that could like dangle and shine all around. And at the very top of the hat, they had feathers on them. These feathers symbolize mockery towards the Spanish women who would wear like their prestigious hats with their feathers that represented like health, wealth, and high class, leading on to its robe. In Tlayacapan, they would wear this white robes with blue stripes along with the basic hat. In Tepoztlan, they would wear these black long robes with silk doilies, and they would have like this extra black ruffled cape attached in the back, which is really cool, along with the hat itself too. And then leading on to the final thing, which is a mask, they would wear these white-faced mask that had like blue eyes and like very tinted red cheeks, to symbolize the Spanish men and mock them how they looked. It later evolved. Another thing that changed was they added on a long pointed beard to like mimic how the Spanish man would look like. A little fun fact that I saw, which is not factual because I found it on Wikipedia, is that they cost from 4,000 to 400,000 pesos, which around translates to around 200 through $1,600 here, which I thought was really interesting because that's very pricey. Now that the costumes have finished, the carnavales can now start. They start off with some mild dancing here and there, like a little warm up, just swinging around, and then after, they have these fireworks go off according to El Brinco de los Chinelos article. Once the fireworks go off, then they could start off with their dancing. Their dancing is consisted of jumping up and down, tiptoeing here and there, and moving loosely like a puppet on a string. And then they would also move in semi-full circles to just jumping here and there, whistling and stuff, to represent how it originally was to be create chaos and disturbance towards the Spanish. But now it's more for fun and enjoyment, and they dance very close to each other to like release so much stress, but at the same time like radiate positive vibes and good energy to one another, which I thought that was really cool to see how it evolved, not only its costume and its name and all that, but also like its purpose. So in conclusion, it is, like I said, interesting how a small sort of a protest led to such a popular tradition today, and it is cool to talk about how, especially because now we have all these protests going on and stuff, and it creates such a big movement, and positive or negative, etc., which is really cool. And now that y'all know that, go get your stimulus check, buy a plane ticket, go to Tepoztlan early February, and go see the Chinelos.